Listen closely, because what I'm about to say isn't a theory, a trend, or some temporary frustration. It's a quiet rebellion, a psychological shift that experts warned about years ago. And now it's happening in real time. Good men aren't dating anymore, not because they're weak, not because they're bitter, and definitely not because they can't get women. No, they're stepping back because they finally understand something dark, something uncomfortable, something society hoped they would never figure out. The modern dating system is built on their sacrifice and their silence. For decades, men were told, be strong, provide, protect, prove yourself, never complain. And they did. They worked harder, earned more, tried more, gave more. They internalized every pressure, every expectation, every demand. But here's what changed. Slowly, quietly, brutally. Men weren't just expected to provide. They were expected to perform endlessly, emotionally, financially, psychologically, with almost nothing in return. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that men experience emotional burnout in relationships at nearly the same rate as women, but report it 70% less. Not because they're fine, but because they've been trained to hide the damage. And that's exactly where the fracture began. Good men became the emotional shock absorbers of modern dating, always there, always stable, always dependable, until one day, they weren't. Because even the strongest man breaks when he realizes that every effort he gives is treated as the bare minimum, and every failure is treated as proof that he's not enough. Ask men privately. The truth spills fast. They're done with being compared to imaginary options, being treated like placeholders, being expected to heal trauma they didn't cause, being punished for showing emotion, being mocked for needing support, being judged by their wallet before their character. And the wildest part? When men finally step back, when they say enough, society doesn't ask why, it accuses them. You're scared of commitment. You're emotionally unavailable. You just can't handle strong women. No men can handle strength. What they're tired of is hostility disguised as empowerment. They're tired of being told they're the problem before the conversation even begins. A Stanford study shows that modern dating apps create an environment where 91% of men feel disposable, not unattractive, not unsuccessful, disposable. And once a man feels disposable, something inside him shuts off. Not violently, not dramatically, but permanently. Because here's the darker truth, the one nobody wants to admit. Good men didn't suddenly disappear. They simply stopped showing up in places where they weren't valued. Men today are choosing what women were encouraged to choose for years. Boundaries, self-respect, peace, not loneliness, peace. Men realize that peace is better than a relationship that drains them. Silence is better than arguments where they're always wrong. Solitude is better than being used for stability while someone shops for better options. And women feel this shift deeply. They may not say it out loud, but they see it. Men aren't chasing anymore. They're not begging. They're not proving their worth. They're not auditioning for relationships. Because good men finally understand the psychology of modern dating. The one who gives the most loses the most. So now they protect themselves. They focus on their health, their money, their careers, their purpose. They rebuild confidence not through relationships, but through independence. And here's the secret nobody talks about. Men don't leave when they stop loving. Men leave when they stop feeling safe. Not physically safe, emotionally safe. A man will walk through fire for a woman who respects him, but he won't lift a finger for someone who sees him as an option, a paycheck, or a villain. And in today's dating world, too many men feel like villains by default, as if any word can be twisted, any boundary labeled toxic. any mistake used as lifelong evidence so they opt out, not out of fear, but out of clarity. Because once a man experiences peace, real peace, he realizes something powerful. Peace feels better than love that hurts, better than sex that confuses, better than attention that disappears, better than proving his worth to someone who never appreciated it. This is why good men are done dating. Not because they hate women, not because they're broken, not because they've given up, but because they finally understand their value, and they're no longer willing to trade that value for chaos, uncertainty, or disrespect. What's happening now is not a crisis of masculinity. It's a correction, a recalibration, a generation of men saying, "I would rather be alone than be drained." And here's the twist. The unexpected consequence. When men stop chasing, everything changes. The dating market shifts, the dynamic flips, the pressure moves. Women begin asking the questions men used to ask. Where are the good men? Why aren't they trying anymore? What made them stop caring? The answer is simple. Men didn't stop caring. They stopped being destroyed. They stopped playing a game that punishes loyalty and rewards detachment. They stepped out of a system designed to exhaust them. They chose themselves. And when a good man chooses himself, no manipulation can pull him back. Not guilt, not shame, not pressure, not fear of being alone. He becomes free, and freedom is addictive. So yes, good men are done dating. Not forever, not out of bitterness, but until they find someone who sees them not as a resource, but as a person, someone who values effort, reciprocates energy, communicates honestly, loves without conditions, and understands that relationships aren't built on entitlement, but on appreciation. Until then, men will stay silent, focused, unavailable, not because they're cold, but because they're healing. And when they finish healing, they will open the door only for someone who brings them peace, not chaos. And here's the part almost no one dares to say out loud. Men aren't avoiding love. They're waiting for a version of it that doesn't demand they destroy themselves to keep it alive. They're waiting for connection that feels like partnership, not a performance. For loyalty that isn't conditional on perfection. For intimacy that doesn't turn into ammunition during conflict. For someone who understands that a man's silence isn't apathy, it's the final stage of emotional exhaustion. And until the world understands that, good men will continue to walk away quietly, choosing the one thing modern dating can't seem to offer them anymore: peace that stays.